Today's lesson is going to cover a rapid review of linear equations. So linear equations are something that are supposed to be taught in Algebra 1. So some of this you've probably seen before, and there's certain aspects of it that you probably haven't, but I'm still going to go over them. So there are three forms in which you can write the equation of a line, and the first one is called slope-intercept, and that's probably the one that you have seen before. That's y equals mx plus b. M would stand for the slope, and b would stand for the y-intercept. So as long as you would know those two components, you could graph the equation of any line. So I'm going to give you an example here. We have y equals 2x plus 1. I want you to graph that line. So you want to make sure that you realize the slope is 2, aka 2 over 1, and the y-intercept is 1. So the way we graph is we put a dot on the y-axis at 1. There's your first dot. And then you're going to count from that dot, you're going to count a rise of 2, and you're going to run 1 to the right. And then you could keep doing that pattern, but you're going to get this line. So as long as you have 2 points on your line, you're fine. Then you have standard form, and that looks like ax plus by equals c. Standard form is useful whenever you're trying to get the x and the y-intercepts. You can get them very, very quickly if something is presented in standard form. Anytime you want an intercept, let's say you want the x-intercept, you just plug 0 in for the opposite letter. So in this case, I would plug 0 in for y. I want you to think about what that means then. If you turn y into 0, b times y, that's going to go away because that's going to become 0. So really, you're just solving ax equals c. You're solving for x in that equation. So a quick way to get your x-intercept is to take your constant, which is your c value, and divide it by the coefficient of x, which is your a value. And if you want the y-intercept, it's the same idea, except you divide by b. So if I want to compute the x-intercept of our example problem, I'm simply going to do 12 divided by 4. So my x-intercept is 3. And if I want the y-intercept, I'm going to do 12 divided by 3, and that, of course, is 4. If you know your x-intercept and your y-intercept, you have 2 points. You can make a line. So I graph my x-intercept on 3 on the x-axis, my y-intercept of 4 on the y-axis, and then I connect them with a line. As best I can. Sorry, I'm drawing with a mouse, so I'm doing my best. So usually everyone has learned slope-intercept form when they get to my class, and then about half my students already were familiar with standard form. They've seen it before. They might have done problems in standard form before. Most kids do not know point-slope form. This is the formula for point-slope form. So when you're given an equation, you're going to have numbers in the y1 spot, the x1 spot, and the m spot. Just a quick reminder, the y2 and the y1, the x2 and the x1, those are just to help us differentiate different ordered pairs. So I might call the one ordered pair x1, y1, and the other x2, y2. That's just to differentiate. Okay, mathematically, the 2 and the 1 have no significance. So let's take a look at our equation. You can see that 1/4 is in m's spot, so my slope is 1/4. And in x1's spot, be careful. A lot of kids will say 4. It's not 4. It's -4. We had a minus in our formula. All of a sudden, now that's a plus. That means I would have had to plug -4 in for that x1. So -4 is in x1 spot, and +3 is in y1 spot. So if I give you something in point-slope form, you're able to pull out the slope, you're able to pull out the point, that's enough to graph the line. So I'm going to graph -4, 3. That's my first point there. And from there, I'm going to apply my slope. I'm going to rise 1 and run 4 to the right. So there's your line. So we are going to practice all three forms, and you're probably going to have to practice point-slope form a little more than you practice some of the others. So keep an open mind when we're doing this. In my next video, we're going to go ahead and go through 3 different cases of problems.